And in reality, this happened. Look at what happened in the 1900s when we had the Spanish flu pandemic. I mean, there were a series of things that were done wrong, and we just repeated them. It's like we forgot that this had happened. So this is likely to occur again. Now, when you try to talk about you were talking about technology. I mean, I'm hoping that technology will help us aid in at least prevention or control of these devastating illnesses.
Welcome everyone to this new edition of our Holochat, a holographic podcast. Today I have a legend. I will call him a legend. His name is Joseph Varon. He's a surgeon here in the Houston Medical Center, and also he has a book. The name of the book is The COVID Hunter. Dr. Varon, thank you so much and welcome to this Holochat.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Dr. Varon, we try to talk about technology. I will try to do this today and also talk about your book. Houston is well known as the best medical center on the planet. How do you see, what's the role of technology here at the Houston Medical Center and here at your hospital?
I mean, without question about it, having technology integrated into the art of medicine makes Houston probably the largest medical hub in the world. Having the advantage of having close by technological centers, NASA, lots of universities that have to do with high functioning technology also help us. So there is a lot of integration of what is technology with the art and science of medicine.
Thank you, Doctor. So for the past few years, we see increasing use of wearable devices. Have you noticed any difference, or have any of your patients been wearing wearable devices and using them for health benefits?
Absolutely. I mean, we have been doing a lot of really interesting things. For example, we have our patients, everybody that comes to my office now is fitted with one of those wearable devices that, keeps tracks of heart rate, oxygen, and many other things. And that gets transmitted to a central database that looks at trends. So sometimes I can tell when a patient is going to get in trouble before they get in trouble. So definitely, this is not the future. This is the present, and people need to start integrating such technologies into the day-to-day lives of their patients.
Wow. So you have patients from, I believe, almost every single country, doctor. What do you believe in your life? What's the role of telemedicine today, and what will be the role of telemedicine in the next couple of decades?
It's actually interesting that you asked that because, I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch the Jetsons. And, I said, oh, that will never happen. But now telemedicine has become extremely important. Now, having said that, telemedicine may be reasonable for places like the United States of America, yet other countries, they still need the doctor to touch you and, and feel you. So it is a good first-hand experience. Now, telemedicine may help in many other ways, especially from the academic standpoint. Like if you don't know how to do a surgery or you need somebody to help you out. I mean, what you are doing now with holographic, I'm going to call it holographic medicine, would be fascinating. Imagine having a surgeon that really knows how to do a specific procedure next to you in the operating room, guiding you through a process. Or in some instances now we have robotic medicine, which, a robot is literally operating for you, but it can be controlled from a distance. So whoever doesn't want to adopt this, it's just not embracing technology in the way they should.
Thank you, Doctor. Well, coming back to a question about technology, I know you mentioned that the data collected from the medical devices with the permission of the clients can be recorded to the central database. So with that information, um, can we safely say that we using it for in any research or artificial intelligence? Is there any help from the data that is being collected?
Absolutely. I mean, what we do is we look at trends. We look at, look at this person is having a heart rate that slowly is going up. And, maybe I will not pick that up, but artificial intelligence may be able to pick it up over a period of time and let me know ahead of time. Now, having said that, even though I'm a big believer in technology and I love technology, you always have to have a human behind such technology. And in medicine, you really need to have a little bit of what I call the gestalt, which is what Germans call the feeling of that there is something going wrong. So the use of that technology, that information ahead of time, plus the medical knowledge of the clinician, of the doctor, will really enhance the way we treat our patients.
That's true. I have a question. You have a book in 2 languages, the COVID Counter. COVID was, for most of us, a huge surprise. I believe that we didn't prepare properly for a pandemic. Some people mention that this happen every 100 years. In your opinion, are we going to have another pandemic in 100 years, or is it going to happen sooner than we expect?
Well, there is no question that we were not prepared for this pandemic. And it's amazing. You look at countries like the United States of America, where, over 1 million people died. But the reason why they died was not because we were not prepared. It was mostly because we were not unified. There was no homogeneous message. You would hear former President Trump saying one thing, Mr. Fauci saying one thing and then changing his mind 5 times. Then you would hear the CDC saying one thing, the FDA saying another thing, me saying a different thing. People didn't know what to believe. And that is a big problem. By not having an homogeneous message, that's what got people in trouble. Now, having said that, that is likely to occur again. I do believe that we will have another pandemic. I cannot tell you when that will be. But unless we learn from the mistakes that we made, we are doomed to have the same problem over and over again. And unfortunately, they say that the human beings are the only animals that make the same mistake twice. And in reality, this happened. Look at what happened in the 1900s when we had the Spanish flu pandemic. There were a series of things that were done wrong, and we just repeated them. It's like we forgot that this had happened. So this is likely to occur again. Now, when you try to talk about you were talking about technology. I'm hoping that technology will help us aid in at least prevention or control of these devastating illnesses.
Well, doctor, you personally using some technology in your practice, but how do you balance between using the technology and having that human touch? Is there a special technique to that, or what do you do to balance that out?
That the only way to do it is years of education, training, and experience, and doing it. I think that patients require the personal touch. I don't think that you can do any kind of let's try and do everything by computer or using artificial intelligence. You do require a human, because the doctor-patient relationship is probably one of the most important parts of the therapeutic interventions that we do on patients. If the patient doesn't trust you, then the patient will not do well, no matter what they have. So if you are going to try to get this integration of technology, and only technology is going to be aiding the patient, I don't think that the patients are going to have good outcomes. So you need to have that personal touch. And that's why, even though we have all these toys and gadgets that we're using at the present time to help us identify what the patient is going to get in trouble with, I like to make sure that they understand without question about it, that there is always a human at the other end, and for that reason, I see them like a regular doctor patient.
Dr. Varon, we're talking about technology. What's going to be the role of artificial intelligence in medicine today, and also, actually also not only medicine, also telemedicine, in your opinion?
Well, the role is important. And, let me give you an example. Nowadays, you have people that complain, let's say, of headache, and they enter headache into a Google search, and they get, 27 million hits. What artificial intelligence is going to do is going to identify which one of those 27 million hits is a legitimate source of information. What artificial intelligence is going to do is going to narrow where your symptoms may match whatever is out there on the net. That's a good part. The bad part is going to be who's going to use it. A lot of people are going to say, oh, I'm just going to ask the computer what I have. And then they are not going to go and see their doctor. And maybe because the way they enter the search, because the way they did the investigation of their symptoms, they may actually get in trouble and come to me at a late stage of some illness. So there is a role, no question about it, of artificial intelligence in medicine. I'm a big believer in it. There is a role of telemedicine, like I said, from a consultation, second opinions, things that don't require, direct hands-on a patient. I mean, we now have all sorts of devices where I can remotely use a stethoscope and I can listen to the heart of a patient, even though I'm not next to the patient. There are a lot of those things that are being used, and I do them. I mean, I have an office in Shanghai, and I do a lot of telemedicine. But usually I do that as a step for the patients to then come and see me so I can then do my evaluation. We're almost there. We're getting very close to an instance where telemedicine hopefully will allow us to have everything. So you are going to get, let's say, you're going to get a kit at home that has, a device that allows you to look at your throat, listen to your heart, listen to your lungs, and you can do all of that remotely. That's what I think we're going to hit. And I think that we're going to see that within the next 20 years. I don't think it's that far off.
So thank you, Doctor. You think maybe within the next 20 years, and let's bet on that, maybe not, maybe sooner, we'll have an artificial intelligence that can at least partially diagnose clients, maybe while the doctor is not available, or in the locations where doctors are not instantly available. So the artificial intelligence can take a little part of diagnosing the patients, and then maybe the actual doctor can step in and make sure that the diagnosis or the procedures are accurate. Or how would you see that?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, let's say somebody comes to the emergency room, then the patient is going to tell the person in the emergency room what their symptoms are. The symptoms will be entered into a computer. The computer will go through several algorithms and show by percentage what are the different possible diagnoses that the patient has. But yes, I do see that there will be a real doctor, a human, that's going to overlook at this and make sure that things were not missed. Because there are some parts, like I told you, that part that I was talking about earlier, what the Germans call Gestalt, that feeling that it's like there are some things that not a computer can do. But if you integrate them both, I think that we are in to get a very good result.
Doctor, this is a new technology, recording in a holographic way. People may be watching this not only today, maybe in 20, 30 years from now. People will, and this is the first interview to a physician using this technology, the HoloConnect. What will be your message for people watching this Holochat in 20 or 30 years from now?
Well, I mean, from a medical standpoint, this is amazing. Imagine, I mean, we thought that Zoom and Skype really revolutionized things. I mean, this is much better. This feels more personal. So imagine being able to have a case discussion with some of your friends on a round table in which you have them all holographic and you're just chatting. I mean, just more, it's more human than just having a plain old screen in front of you. Um, at the same time, I mean, having the guidance from a medical standpoint, I mean, I'm just thinking about, on things that unfortunately I gotta do on regular basis, like end of life situations where, you don't have all the family members at the bedside of somebody that's about to die. Imagine if you can teleport them holographically so that at least they can be close to their loved ones at their last minutes of their life. I mean, that I think those are the parts in which the technology has a huge amount of potential, a huge amount of potential. Those little things that people forget about, that Mr. X or Mr. Y could not make it to the bedside of their loved one who's about to die. I mean, just imagine you teleport them and they are there with the rest of the family.
Wow, just amazing, just thinking about it. And but wanted to ask you a quick question. I know we mentioned some challenges that you face all around the world. Being able to practice medicine and in the remote locations and such. But are there any challenges that exist here in Houston medical community?
Of course, I mean, and that's what when you have to deal with the dinosaurs, with people that don't want to embrace technology, people that don't believe in technology, and I have been part of that. I mean, I remember the first time I did something kind of thinking outside the box. I went ahead and I froze a patient, and people thought that I was doing witchcraft. And now freezing patients, especially after an event like a cardiac arrest, is a standard of care of patients. So yes, you're going to find challenges, and the challenges are those people that don't want to embrace technology, those people that don't want to be part of this, and they don't know how to combine it. I think that a lot of people feel it's challenged. They feel that they're going to be displaced instead of understanding that if they use technology in the right way, they will not have issues. But yes, no, trust me, there will be a lot of haters, like is commonly said.
Doctor, you understand the brain, I believe, better than most of us. Um, do you, well, people like Elon Musk, they have been talking about ways to integrate the power of a smartphone into our brains. So we will not have more bricks to communicate or personal computers. He believes that everything is going to be integrated into our brain. If that happens, or when that happens, uh, from your medical standpoint, what will be the advantages, disadvantages, and also are we talking about possible diseases that can come with this technology? What's your opinion about that?
There is no question that every time you put something that is not human inside a human, you have a potential to get in trouble. Whether your body reacts to it, whether your body doesn't like it. I mean, we see it. I mean, you see it with simple things like breast implants. I mean, you don't have to go too far away. I mean, people getting a lot of issues. Now, imagine that you're going to be putting a computerized device in somebody. You can have issues, even though we have people that have pacemakers and a couple of other things. Here, we're talking about an integrated technology that's going to be a little more um, it has a potential to get you a lot of trouble. Now, on the good side, it has a potential to enhance things that we don't have. From my standpoint, I would be using some of this technology in people that have suffered from neurological conditions, people that have strokes, people that have things like that. If you can somehow get to the area where the person had the stroke and get this computerized chip to help you, mobilize or start moving the places that you were not moving before. I think that that's going to be where the future is. Now, that's going to take time, and I don't think it's going to happen overnight. And one of the biggest pitfalls of this is that unfortunately, we have, at least in this country, we have the Food and Drug Administration that really is very slow in adapting new technology, new ideas, and may take decades before we get that to truly function.
Yeah, we've seems like we've made a lot of progress in the past decade. When human holoportation was impossible, and now, we have the application that can capture a hologram and move you to a different part of the world to sit at the table with your friends. Do you think something like this would be possible for you to diagnose your patients?
It will help me. Again, if I have the other pieces of the technology that I need, it should be able. I mean, most of the time, the diagnosis of a patient is based upon, like I said, the years of education, training, and experience that a person has as a doctor or as a clinician, and learning how to read an X-ray, read a CAT scan, review an EKG, gives you a lot of the information that you need to make a diagnosis. Now, hearing it from the patient clearly makes a big difference, or for me to look at them, how they are reacting to one or other thing. Now, that's never going to be used instead of me palpating the patient, touching the patient. I mean, pushing on their, let's say, abdomen to see whether or not that elicits pain. Those are the things that are going to be difficult. But sooner or later, we will have some kind of a remote thing where I can do it remotely, just like we do telesurgery nowadays using for example, a Da Vinci robot, which is a special robot that allows you to do surgery, that now can be managed thousands and thousands of miles away by some other doctor.
Well, Doctor, it has been a very good interview. I want to give this last section to you. If you want to mention something, if you want to give an advice or something that we should ask you, but it's better to ask you directly because you are the expert, the subject matter expert.
Well, I mean, technology is, without a question in my mind, something that we all need to embrace, but we need to embrace it carefully, and needs to be guided, needs to have some regulation so that we don't overdo it in the wrong way. I still believe that doctors and technology can integrate fabulously, and we can really make a difference in our patients. Just think about it. Now I can tell when a patient of mine is going to get an asthma attack before my patient knows it. I mean, I'm doing that already. My patient blows into a little thing every day, and I start looking at trends, so I can tell ahead of time when the patient is going to get in trouble, and I can probably modify things. So I think that that's the good part. The bad part is going to be those people that believe that technology is absolutely everything, and they forget that there is a little bit of an art on what we do, the art of medicine.
Well, very good. Doctor, thank you so much for your time. Vlada, thank you so much for joining me for this Holochat. Vlad is one of our most brilliant software developers, and it's the first time that she's here also conducting the interview. And Doctor, it's an honor. Thank you so much for receiving me and Vlada here in your hospital as holograms. Hopefully we can see you in person soon. And everybody, thank you for watching.
Thank you for coming.